Final round here, round 5. Currently 3-1. Looking to close out with a win, and we won the die roll again. I think this is our 4th die roll out of 5 that we've won, which is very good for this deck. Hopefully we can play against a different type of opponent here, maybe white aggressive or some kind of control deck, but we faced a bunch of green-white mirrors so far. This is a good hand. We get to actually curve out. We get a blue source here. We won't be able to cast Dromoka's Command. Well, depending on what lands we draw. It's not like we're casting Dromoka's Command on turn 2 anyway. Alright, so we get to face white. I don't know if that's a good thing. It's good for our testing, but I'm not sure how I feel about actually facing this deck. We have a pretty good hand against them, at least. The fact that we were able to play something turn 2, turn 3, didn't have too many tap lands, and we have a Reflector Mage on the play, makes this hand pretty good. I'm not going to attack since we can block Reflector Mage on the Dragon Hunter. Thalia's Lieutenant keeps back the Inspector. I don't even want to trade 2 damage for 1 damage here. I'd rather just play defense. Always watching. We'd have to take some damage this turn, but at least we have the Dromoka's Command for it. Sure. Definitely have to block here. Missing a land drop kind of sucks. I think we really need the forest. We want to be able to hit this company, so even though I want a Dromoka's Command, I need to be able to make this land drop so that we can play 2 spells in a turn or play Dromoka's Command. And I just don't even think that Nissa or Reflector Mage is going to be able to help us block. I guess we can double block if we pass. We know that Thalia's Lieutenant will be at least a 2-2 from the Gossip Monger. Looks like at least a 3-3 now. Yikes. Yeah, definitely fine with a double block. Company might be able to dig us out of this. We're taking a lot of damage from the Griff Spoon, though. I don't know if that's usually a main deck card. I don't think it is. Ugh. Come on, lands. I'm going to Collected Company before our opponent goes to combat. That way, if we have a Reflector Mage, we can bounce the Anointer of Champions. That changes things. I guess we're still going to have to company because our opponent can sacrifice the Griff Spoon. Yep, happens. Now we're hoping to bounce the Dragon Hunter, and then we can command the Always Watching on our turn. Oh, I forgot to do it before combat. I got distracted. Oh, not good. Turns out it did not matter. This would be a 3/4. So flip to a 3/4 and then pump it to a 4/5. Guess we're still better off counter or killing this thing. Needed a Reflector Mage on that. Alright, so this flyer is now lethal. No matter which enchantment our opponent sacrifices, we can at least live for another turn. Well, never mind. Cancel that order. We're gonna have to draw a Reflector Mage or another Dromoka's Command. Otherwise, this Griff Spoon is gonna kill us just by being re-equipped or reattached to whatever creature remains at the end of this combat. So we're gonna have to get super lucky from here on out. Didn't do it. Stumbled a little bit on mana there. Our start was pretty good, but we weren't able to deploy the rest of our hand. And Griff Spoon will certainly take over a game if you cannot put pressure on your opponent. Ojutai's command is too slow. Same with Nissa. We need as cheap of an interaction as we can find. Den Protector is really just in to be another 2-drop, but it can rebuy Declarations and Planar Outburst in the late game. Tracker is too slow. I take those out as well. We don't need the card advantage, and a 3-2 gets killed by a 2-1 attacking just as well as a 2-2 or a 1-2, so the low toughness makes me not want to play it. Alright, well, we have a curve. I'm going to get a green source. Hope our opponent's stuck on one land here. Looks like that might be the case. I guess I could consider not blocking. No, I just want to kill it. They might have another Kythian in hand, which would be a reason not to block. But I'm playing a 3-3, which is going to block their board. And then I don't have any other humans in hand. I have companies, which obviously will grow the lieutenant, but I don't mind taking that trade on turn 1 just to save myself 2 to 4 damage. Yeah, they do have another Kythian. Yeah, could have been a bad block. I assume my opponent will not take a 2-for-1. If they do, we can try to company into a Reflector Mage. And if they double block here, how are they ever winning? So I don't think they can do that. I wonder if they should have attacked there. They're stuck on one land, so the chances of them winning this game are pretty low. They might just have to, hope for me to get unlucky, either not having a company there and just representing it, or whiffing, which is possible. I mean, I almost whiffed here, but it might have been a better play for them to attack and then hope that I whiff. I don't see how they're winning the game otherwise. You really don't have any good blocks here, because I can just displace her, or I can displace her the Reflector Mage or one of their blockers, no matter how they block. So yeah, this is probably correct. Well, our opponent does get to get another land. You're going off. Probably could have used that a few turns ago. Opponent might just scoop based on this collected company. Yeah, it's pretty good. Let's see, get this guy out of here. Get this guy out of here. Three, 5, 6, 8 power. So not quite lethal. Alright, now we have to win a game on the draw. That's the tough part. Wish our opponent had stumbled on the draw instead of on the play than on the draw. I think game 2 we have a much better chance than game 3. The only question here is whether we want Sigarda, but I think it's probably too slow. On the play, maybe it was a consideration, but on the draw, probably not. Well, gosh, his hand feels really close. We get a couple of 2-drops. If we draw blue source, I think we're in good shape. Thanks. That was not exactly what I was hoping for. Now I have to decide if we play a 2-drop or if we play Evolving Wilds and just go in on these Reflector Mages. Do we want turn 3 Reflector Mage or do we want turn 2 something? God, if we just draw a Declaration in Stone, how absurd is this? Our opponent is aggressive. Values Lieutenant. At least we can, no matter what, we can block and trade with one of these things. I mean, if our opponent plays Thalia's Lieutenant. If we play a Den Protector, we'll still be able to block and trade. Yeah, we have to do that, because if we don't, we're just taking potential of 9 damage. Gosh. This matchup comes down to critical decisions on like turn 2 and 3, or even turn 1 by which land you play. Looks like Athalia's Lieutenant. Ugh, this is bad. Triple 1-drop is so hard to beat. Silk Wrap? Alright, that's actually not as bad. By a very small amount, it's not as bad. I think I need to leave up Dromoka's command. If I play Athalia's Lieutenant, then there's a pretty good chance that it won't even be able to block. Yeah. Oh wait, I don't have two modes to choose from? Is that right? Oh no. Not good news. I mean, we have a chance, but not a good one. We need to hit Reflector Mage, and we have two of them already in our hand. So, not looking good. Yep, super dead. God, that's so frustrating. This deck always beats me. I don't know. Their draw was really good. It's hard to beat that, I think. A 3/1 drop opening plus always watching and Grifspoon, like, it's hard to beat any one of those things. The always watching not as much, but Grifspoon and triple 1 drop are two starts that are just so hard to beat. And after starting 3-0, it's pretty disappointing to finish 3-2. We misplayed against some of the mirror matches. I don't know that we did too much wrong in the white aggro matchup, but that one I've had some trouble with. And when they have their best draws like that, it's just really hard to win. Let's see what we learned. So the Nissa was pretty good. I was happy with it in all the games that we drew it in. Not against white, of course, but all the other matchups, it felt really good to have Nissa. We didn't bring in the negates very much, but that's because we didn't see control decks. Same thing with the Gideons. I think 3 Gideons is maybe too much, but against control decks, it is nice to have a threat that's a planeswalker. The Sigarda was very good, so I think I want to keep that. I do like our sideboard plan, although the Grifspoons, I never really drew those in our mirrors, so it's hard to evaluate that. As far as the deck overall, I mean, I still like how powerful it is. I think it has a lot of game against all the decks that are out there. I don't know yet if I prefer it to the Bant Company deck with Sylvan Advocates. Thalia's Lieutenants were pretty good. They never really ran away with the game. Like, we didn't displace our Thalia's Lieutenant. We didn't abuse it that much, but it was a pretty valuable part of just building up our offense going wide. I don't know. I like the deck. I think it's strong. I'm still not sure how I'm going to tune it going forward. The Ojutai's command, having one-ofs, I guess it makes it hard for your opponents to play around, but it seems like that could be something else, potentially. We did see one Linvala, which is the reason that I would want to keep an Ojutai's command. Linvala and Avacyn. I don't know. We did okay with it. 3-0 start was pretty good. Into 3-2. Got to improve the white matchup, or maybe just play test against it some more. Not exactly sure how to improve it. If you have any ideas, be interested in hearing about it. The planar outbursts are pretty good against those white aggro decks. Maybe even playing another one wouldn't be bad. Maybe over the 3rd Gideon. Depends on whether I expect to face a lot of white decks or a lot of control decks. 3 planar outbursts could be too many, but I don't know. I've had a lot of trouble beating mono white or the white red aggro deck, so I might lean towards playing 3 outbursts just to be safe. Of course, in the games that we saw, it's hard to always hit your land drops, and I think that might be the first change that I would make, is just going to 26 land. Maybe that's what I could do for the in place of the Ojutai's command. because it feels like we just always need extra mana, and we're looking to hit our land drops every turn. So I think that's probably the one thing that I've concluded from this league, is to play another land instead of one of these flex slots like the Nissa or the Ojutai's Command. One of those can go to the sideboard for a land, and maybe take out the Gideon altogether. Do something like that. And then I can play, if I'm taking out a Gideon, I can play like a Lumbering Falls, which is a lot worse without Sylvan Advocate, but having a creature land seems like it would be useful. And if we're going up to 26, it's basically like adding a spell land anyway. Actually, another thing I had considered in previous builds of Bant was a Rogue's Passage. So we could do that instead of a creature land, considering that we don't have advocates. This might be better. Do I not have Rogue's Passages? Am I spelling it wrong? There we go. Rogue's Passage. Yeah, maybe I'll try that. It's another colorless source for the Eldrazi Displacer. We have enough colored sources. We just need to hit land drops. So maybe I would try that. I think that's good in the mirrors. And yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. If you have any comments, ways to improve the deck, ways to improve my play, that would be appreciated. And I don't know. If you're going to the GP, good luck. If not, well, wish me luck. See you around.